Only on CBS this morning, Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg and his wife, philanthropist Priscilla Chan, invited us into their home. Well, invited may be a stretch. How about I said, please, Mr. and Mrs. Zuckerberg, can we please come over? And they said, okay. They have never allowed a TV camera crew inside their home before today. So we were able to see firsthand who this couple is outside of their first Facebook Lives. They discussed raising their two young daughters and how family inspires the work that they do. Our extensive conversations with this couple, we think, show a different side of the Zuckerbergs, both at home and at work. Priscilla, how do you handle all of the incoming that goes to Facebook, that goes to Mark specifically?
I think it's hard. Like, the way your gut feels when your best friend comes home and it's like, hard day, not sure what needs to come next. Or, you know, waking up at night and being like, he's still not in bed. And so I see that. I also see that we're still so fortunate. Like, the touchstone of our family and our kids, and just knowing that we are, we're okay. What can we actually bring to the table?
It's that family that motivated them to build the Chan Zuckerberg Initiative, a now 4-year-old company funding achievements in medical science and other fields. I love that it's Chan Zuckerberg, not Zuckerberg Chan. Mm-hmm. The couple launched it just days after the birth of their first daughter. So in order to truly understand the origins of this huge philanthropic endeavor, you really have to go back home. Honey, I'm home.
Yeah. Come on in.
To meet Max, the little girl who unknowingly started it all, now joined by her little sister, August.
Augie, can you say hi to Gail?
Hi, August. Hi, August.
Who recently had a birthday? Me. How old did you turn?
4.
4.
How do you raise children when you can really give them anything materially to be grounded?
Well, I think first of all, we don't give them everything, so I think that's an important piece, but they also just have responsibilities.
So you're saying you teach them that they have chores?
They have chores.
Your kids have chores?
Yeah, they have
They
responsibilities.
have chores, they have responsibilities.
Yeah.
We also take them to work. Mark and I take both of them to work, to the office, to see sort of like what we do, how we contribute.
So how do you not bring work home, guys? You work together, you live together?
Well, I disagree with the premise of that question.
I mean, work comes home. We care deeply about our work, and so we don't leave it at the door, but we are super careful about thinking about, is this the moment to talk about it?
I guess it was when you kept on bringing up work on date night.
How often is date night, and what is date night?
We're pretty good about this.
Every week.
We do it every week.
Every week?
Yeah.
And no work talk on date night?
No work talk.
Who started date night? Whose idea was that?
It's Mark's idea.
Really?
Yes.
Mark, are you the sentimental one in this relationship?
I think that would be a surprising conclusion to come to, but that may be where this interview is going.
No, but another surprise? The couple's first date, way back at Harvard after meeting in line for the bathroom at a frat party, almost didn't lead to a second date.
There was a major red flag.
What?
I'm like a type A student. At the end of the date, he said, I have a take-home midterm I need to do, but I'd rather hang out with you.
Oh.
Which I thought would be like a compliment, right? I mean, it's like, all right, I'm having fun. This is going
I
well.
was like, this guy's going nowhere. He's blowing off his homework.
From your standpoint, Mark, you're thinking that's a way to impress her, to say, I'm so interested in you, I'd much rather spend time with you than my homework.
Yeah, and I was pretty confident I could do the test fine. So it's
When Facebook launched, what did you think, Priscilla, your life would be with this man?
Not different than before he launched the website. No one in their wildest dreams would imagine that this is what would happen after that. It was just, it was his next project.
People say the success of Facebook certainly has a lot to do with Priscilla's influence on you. Would you agree with that?
I think that's got to be true.
You run things by her, you
Yeah,
seek
but I
out her
think, but we
advice?
also just talk about our philosophy on life, and then that ends up, having a lot of effects on, how I think about building my team at Facebook and the values with which we run the organization.
I like your marriage vows. And there's a line in the vows that you said about Mark, he makes you a better version of yourself. He makes you a better version of yourself. How?
He just believes in me so much. of even when I don't believe in myself. Highlighting where I have strength where I may not see my own strength.
What does she do for you?
Well, I mean, you have this way of communicating kind of the soul of something that I think it's inspiring and something that we would all do better to, be able to do more of that.
Every year you pick a project. I remember one year you wanted to learn Chinese. You learned Chinese,
I did,
actually.
a little.
What did that mean to you when he did that, Priscilla?
Maybe a little frustrated that my Mandarin was better than yours for a little bit.
Your Mandarin was better than mine, briefly. But I mean, the real takeaway I had from that year is that Mark is better at talking than listening in many languages.
Because I got to a point in Mandarin where I could say a lot of things that I wanted, but my listening was not good. So I remember having this conversation. I was like, why do you think my listening in Mandarin is not as good? And you're like, it's not Mandarin.
Priscilla, what is it that would surprise people about Mark Zuckerberg?
I think you're getting it out of him today, Gail. He's kind of a softie.
Those two are so tight and so connected and really each other's biggest cheerleaders. And people said, what are you guys doing in the kitchen? We're making challah bread. And people said, well, that was for the camera. No, there's a recipe book that says Max is their daughter's challah bread. They make it every Friday for Shabbat dinner. And it had clearly been worn and used many, many times. They are real people with real issues, with real problems, and real goals.
No, you can see it right there on camera.
Oh, you
the
can.
Chemistry, the
You know what I like?
relationship.
I like when I asked, what does she do for you? He didn't say to me, he goes, what you do is, I thought that was very endearing. He turned to her.
Yeah.
The two of them together is very endearing, and they are really quite a unit. It was nice to see. Great appreciation for them letting us come to their home, because they do not do that.
Yeah, that's rare.